welcome back to my channel Manha Study Corner. Let's begin with part 2 of polynomials. Now that we understand what polynomials are, let's see if we can visualize them. Let's start with a very simple polynomial. Let's take a linear one, say x plus 5. How would this look like on a graph? If I give this polynomial a name, px. Let's say px is equals to x plus 5. How would it look on a graph? On the graph, we normally have the x-axis and y-axis. Where do we plot px? Instead of y-axis, all you do is replace the vertical axis with px. Now you can very easily plot on this graph. How would we do that? Exactly the same as you would plot a line. Instead of y is equals to x plus 5, we are writing it as px is equals to x plus 5. Now, so it will be a straight line. How do we plot this line? Put x is equals to 0. All we need is some 2 points, right? When x is 0, px is going to be equal to 5. When x is 1, px will be 6. Now we will plot this on the graph. Join these 2 points, you will get a line. This is a straight line. Hence we call it a linear polynomial. What this gives you is that for different values of x's, it gives you the value of px. So that's how the graph of x plus 5 looks. That's why we call it a linear polynomial. Now instead of x, if I make it x square, let's say px is equals to x square. What happens now? Let's say x is equals to 1. Then px will be 1. If x is equals to 2, then px will be 4. If x is equals to minus 1, then px will be 1 again. And when x is equals to minus 2, then px will be 4. Let me plot these points in the graph. So these are the points. Let's join them. It looks a curve like this. This is how a quadratic curve looks like. We call it a parabola. This shape is called a parabola. Now let me take px as x cube. If px is equals to x cube, then if x is 1, then px is going to be 1. If x is 2, px is going to be 8. If x is minus 1, px is going to be minus 1. If x is minus 2, px is going to be minus 8. So I will plot these points on the graph. Now I will join these points. So what you see is that the curve you get if you join all these points will be something like this. Now this is how the graphs look when it's just a single term. We have just x raised to m. As you add more and more terms, the curves will start turning. That is, they will bend even more. So the number of terms, we actually know how many terms they can have. All you need is to do is again that golden thing, the degree. Look at the degree of the polynomial. The maximum number of terms it can have will always be degree minus 1. Which means if it's a cubic polynomial, it cannot have more than 2 terms. If it's a quadratic polynomial, it can have only 1 term. Which is why the shape that you see is a nice smiley. Now we also know that 0 of a polynomial is where it cuts the x-axis. If we go back to a linear polynomial graph, px was x is equals to x plus 5. We said that polynomial looked like this. Where does it cut the x-axis? At this point, x is equals to minus 5. We call this x is equals to minus 5 as 0 of the polynomial. Simply because if I put x is equals to minus 5, you will get px as 0. Which is why they are called zeros of the polynomial. So geometrically, the 0 of the polynomial is where the curve cuts the x-axis. So in this case, for this polynomial, the 0 is at x is equals to minus 5. Because it's a linear equation, this particular equation has just one 0. Instead of being linear, if it was quadratic, how many zeros would it have? 2 zeros? Not necessarily. So the interesting thing is, if it's a quadratic, it can have a maximum of 2 zeros. That's the only thing that we know. Similarly, a cubic polynomial can have a maximum of 3 zeros and so on. Let's say you have a polynomial x square plus 5x plus 6. What are the zeros of this polynomial? How will we find it? We'll simply equate it to 0. How can we factorize this? The middle term 5x will split it into two parts so that their product is 6 and their sum should be 5. Now we can write this as x square plus 3x plus 2x plus 6 equal to 0. If you simplify, you will get x plus 3 into x plus 2. When will this expression be 0? When either x is equals to minus 3 or x is equals to minus 2. So the two zeros of the polynomial are x is equals to minus 3 and x is equals to minus 2. Minus 3 and minus 2. Now, do we see any relationship between the zeros of this polynomial and the coefficients that we had in our original polynomial? What were the coefficients? If I write it as any general polynomial, if it was ax square plus bx plus c, in our polynomial we have a is equals to 1, b is equals to 5 and c is equals to 6. Do we see some relationship between the two zeros that we got and these numbers? You see clearly that c here, c. If I take c by a, you see that c by a is nothing but minus 3 into minus 2, correct? And if you see minus b by a is going to be minus 5 by 1, which is nothing but minus 3 plus minus 2. What do you see here? You observe any kind of relationship. What we see is that product of zeros is c by a and sum of zeros is minus b by a. This will always be true, not just in this polynomial, any quadratic polynomial, this relationship will always be true. That is, sum of the zeros will be equal to minus b by a and product of the zeros will be equal to c by a. Let's take any general polynomial and see if this is actually true. Let's say you have ax square plus bx plus c is equals to k, which is a constant, into x minus alpha into x minus beta. What are the zeros of this polynomial? Alpha and beta, correct? Because if I put x is equals to alpha, the value of that bracket is going to be 0, which means the entire expression is going to become 0. Similarly, if I put x is equals to beta, the value of second bracket is going to become 0 again. The entire expression will become 0. So alpha and beta are the zeros of this polynomial. Let's open up the brackets. So you'll have ax square plus bx plus c is equals to kx square minus k into alpha plus beta x plus k into alpha beta. Now if you compare the coefficients on the left hand side and the right hand side, what you get? You get a is equals to k, b is equals to minus k into alpha plus beta, c is equals to k into alpha beta, which means alpha plus beta is equals to minus b by k and alpha beta will be equal to c by k. K is nothing but a, so alpha plus beta is minus b by a and alpha beta is c by k. This relationship will always hold true between the sum of zeros and the product of zeros of any quadratic polynomial. And k, if you know the two roots, there can be actually multiple polynomials to find out. If you know the two zeros, there can be multiple such quadratic polynomials you can get. Because as you see, value of k got cancelled. We never found the value of k, right? Which means k can actually take any value. If all you know the zeros of a polynomial, there can be multiple such polynomials depending on the value of k. Let me give you an example. Let's take the same example that we saw before, where the two zeros were minus 3 and minus 2, correct? So I have minus 3 minus 2, which is equals to minus b by a, which means b by a equals 5 and c by a equals minus 3 into minus 2, which means c by a is 6. Now you have two equations here, but three variables, a, b and c, all three are unknowns, or three unknowns, right? A, B, C, all three are unknowns, but we have only two equations and three unknowns we cannot solve, right? Which is why we have to always assume a value for a. If I assume a equal to 1, you will get b equal to 5 and c equal to 6, which is the original polynomial we had started with. If you write this in the form ax square plus bx plus c, you will get x square plus 5x plus 6. Great. This is what we had started with. But does it have to be 1? Not necessary, right? If I take a equals to 2, can these equations still be satisfied? Very much. If a equals 2, then b can be 10. b will be 10, right? So that 10 by 2 is 5. And if a equals 2, c will be 12, right? So that 12 by 2 is 6. That means I can write the polynomial also as 2x square plus 10x plus 12. Similarly, I can have many such polynomials, right? I can write it as 3x square plus 15x plus 18, 4x square plus 20x plus 24 and so on. I can keep going on, right? There can be multiple polynomials because k can have any value. The reason is when you equate them to 0, all of them will get the same zeros. Because if you look at the second equation that we wrote, if I put equal to 1 on the right hand side, now I can divide both sides by 2, right? And I'll get the same equation that I originally had, right? Which is why multiple values are possible. So what is the result that we saw when you have ax square plus bx plus c as a quadratic polynomial and alpha and beta are the zeros of the polynomial? Alpha plus beta will be minus b by a and alpha beta will be c by a. Let's say I have a cubic polynomial ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d equal to 0. We know that it can have a maximum of 3 zeros. Let's say alpha, beta and gamma are the 3 zeros of this polynomial. Can I use this to write relationship for this? What was the first one? If it was the sum of zeros, just sum of zeros of 2 zeros. So similarly I can write here alpha plus beta plus gamma is equals to minus b by a. Correct? Now the next one was actually sum taken 2 zeros at a time. Instead of taking just alpha plus beta, I took alpha and beta together, right? I took 2 zeros together. Now here I have only 2 zeros, here I have 3 zeros. So what can we do? We can take pairs of 2 at a time. How many pairs can be formed? One pair can be alpha beta, one pair can be beta gamma and one pair can be gamma alpha, right? Those are only 3 pairs possible. If you add them up, you will get c by a. So you took 1 at a time, you took 2 at a time, now take 3 at a time. You will get alpha into beta into gamma, that is nothing but minus d by a. You clearly see a pattern, right? When you take the roots 1 at a time and add them up, you get minus b by a. 2 at a time and add them up, you get c by a. 3 at a time and add them up, minus d by a, right? Alternately, pluses and minus signs. Same relationship using quadratic we were able to derive for cubic as well. You already know how to add, subtract, multiply polynomials. Let's see if we can divide polynomials as well. You very much can. They are nothing but a variable based representation of numbers. So you can divide numbers, you should be able to divide polynomials as well. Not just that, you will be able to divide a polynomial in exact same way as you would divide a number. Let's take an example and let's start dividing it. Let's say I have a number 3x square plus x minus 1. Not a number, a polynomial equivalent to a number. And I have to divide this by x minus 1. Let's start with the leftmost term. So I have 3x square and x here as the leftmost term. Now what do I need to multiply x to get 3x square? 3x, right? 3x multiplied by x will give me 3x square. So I put 3x as the first term in my equation. Now my divisor, it's not just x. It's x minus 1, right? it's the entire thing x minus 1. That means I can't just multiply x by 3x. I need to multiply this x minus 1 by 3x, correct? So I'll multiply first x into 3x, which will give me 3x square, and then minus 1 into 3x will give me minus 3x. So I got 3x square minus 3x. Now I'll subtract. That's how you do division, right? So subtract, just right below always the signs, it becomes very easy. 3x square is plus 3x square. So if I subtract, it will become minus. This is minus 3x square minus 3x. If I subtract, it will become plus. Right? Minus minus plus. So 3x minus 3x square minus 3x square will give you 0, and x minus 3x square will give you plus 4. So we are left with 4x minus 1. Now look at the term, first terms here and here. You have 4x here and x here. What do I have to multiply x by to get 4x? 4, right? So I will put a plus 4 in my quotient. Now again, you need to multiply this 4 by entire term x minus 1. So you will do x into 4, which will give you 4x, minus 1 into 4, which will give you minus 1. Now subtract. So you will get plus 3 as the remainder. So this is your divisor, this is your dividend, this is the quotient, and this is the remainder. Dividend is equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Dividend is nothing but 3x square plus x minus 1 equals, divisor is nothing but x minus 1 into quotient 3x plus 4 plus remainder, which is 3. This is called as the division algorithm. I hope you found these videos useful.